Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, it's more towards the late afternoon, but whatever. Who's keeping track of time nowadays? Because now we are living in times of legacy. This is your host, Christopher Michael Curtis Bowen, on this lovely 24th of April, 2017 edition of Liberty. Well, Fire of Liberty, in which we really wonderfully break down the wonderful progression of wonderful Renaissance and the full fruition of paradise on earth and the revelation of heaven on earth, which is the wonderful recognition of paradise and birth and creation, which is what we're creating. Obviously, through wonderful, lovely parts that I left off at, which is wonderful because it already doesn't, there's no leaving off and stopping it. It's continuance of the very fruition of the intensity of the Vedic, intuitive, informative, and enlightened spirit of humanity in the mindset of what it means to be enlightened, and the mindset of what it means to be the best of the best, and the mindset of what it means to be a leader, and the mindset of what it means to lead a country, and the mindset of what it means to be upholding what our forefathers fought for, our founding fathers, our forefathers, what they are, what they stand for, what they fought for, what they have in their ideas, and why their ideas are what we support, and which is why we support the very degradation, or I bring it, of course, into the forefront again, because once again, I'm intellectually informed enough to know about all what is the money, Babylonian money, magic structure. But the point is, it brings back into the forefront of what, and it's not even in the forefront, because it's not. I mean, tyranny is already, nobody cares about tyranny. Not only does nobody care about tyranny, but tyranny is not in the forefront because the ideas, and anyway, what built us is the ideas that made this country strong. So, what allows us to grow is the very factor of, in a sense, what manifests positive co-creation of reality in the most intellectually understood, which is important to crowdsource, because that's great. As much as we would love to convince the people of feudalism being the best fruition for all of humanity, it doesn't work, alright? Feudalism doesn't work. You can't debate it. Oh, I'm going to have $500,000. Oh, I'm going to have $100,000. Oh, I have $200 million. I have $1 billion. That is total. Well, okay. I can't believe I'm reiterating this. This is the science of space travel. In that philosophy is the science of the understanding. Well, I say science, but what we even understand of science is to allow us to be understanding of the very type of terms, not terms, but to condense the terms of what allows us to go into the very light speed manifestation. Well, not light speed manifestation, even though that is one of the byproducts, but which is one of the products in the sense of futuristic 3D printing. But it's been done by very advanced planets, and of course, what entails that, it's not like this must be put in this place, and this place must be put in this place, and this place must be put in this place, and this place must be put in this place, like an assembly line. However, the assembly line is the very thing that created the structure of what creates a car, which is so faceted in these nowadays. So what is the fascination by the very design of what creates the car? How about you create an assembly line, which is, of course, I'm breaking it down. You break down the assembly line of what actually creates the very product in the first place, and the product, which is only one of the products, which is involved in a very revolutionary ideology of mindset of how we can advance, is I'm pretty certain I've already mentioned this before, but you can research this, and this can be researched, and this is already. I would love to say has already been researched and is already underway. But one magnet is enough to, in a sense, allow to create the speed that is enough to be generated in the entire force field, which is enough to regenerate the entire, or energize the entire HO plasma sphere. Not sphere, it's not a sphere. Well, it can be a sphere, but plasma into the. Actually, I don't. To be honest, I honestly don't know the types of metals that are involved. I know vanadium, iridium, thulium is involved in the superconductivity and supermagnetism. However, I do not know the exact alloy that's concentrated into the 5 to 7 step process in creating the heat conversion process of these elements, which can start from lead, which is one of the most common starts of these alloys to create the very vehicle which is reminiscent of the anti-gravity properties to resonate at the frequency that's needed to go to create, basically. And this has already been done by the Pleiadians, so there's no doubt in this type of science, in this field of actuation of how to create this. I mean, it's literally in the same way that we learned from our teachers, the process of addition and the process of subtraction is actually quite simple to learn. The same type of teachings that are passed down from us from other planets, from other solar systems that are more advanced than us to create the type of workings such as the simple basics of transportation, which no longer has to do with, actually no, it doesn't. It doesn't have anything to do with friction, but it has everything to do with how we, in a sense, understand infrasound and therefore understand and it's kind of common sense. I say it's common sense, but it's the very understanding of higher consciousness and the very connectivity that comes from the very sun ourselves, which allows us not only to be, I might have mentioned this before. Well, I not might have. I know I've mentioned this before. But not only the knowledge of how the sun allows us to be self-masters in terms of not needing food, because of the energy that the sun supplies and not needing. And I'm not going to break that down because research provides that. But it's not that it's about what research applies or provides. Is about the dots that connect because of those. Alright, I guess I have to research this myself and then paint the picture. I'm going to paint the picture and really describe the full description of the very description of this process. Because everybody, of course, deserves to know this. And I'm going to break down the Vedanta. I'm going to break down a lot of stuff because it's important to teach, and teaching is there for it's important to teach. Alright. It's weird, but it's pretty awesome. Alright. Sun gazing. I will do something even better. I will give the very URL. www.bibliotecaplates.net/Ciencia underscore soul67.htm. That's www.bibliotecaplates.net/Ciencia underscore sol67.htm. Soul gazing. Why we stare at the sun. The properties of what it means to actually have the safe use of the sun, the story of sun gazing, why it's recommended, the process, the practice, and the very periodical process of what sun gazing involves, and therefore the very methods that are commonly used, the history of sun gazing, and therefore a return to energy and health, which is the very foundation of peace and paradise on earth. You can't have a paradisical planet without perfect health. Perfect health is provided. How do you do that? Wow, I didn't even mention that, but... Well, I did mention that, but energy and health is provided with sun gazing. It was just should be started, I think, as early as you are to stand. So, I need to mention that. I'll mention that, but I'll mention it again. I mentioned it again, and then I'll probably mention it again. I can't believe I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again. Sun gazing. How you make a self-sufficient planet. Because just thinking in the basis of common sense and just kind of how it goes. What happens when you have an entire community that sun gazes? That entire community by 9 months, oh my goodness. That entire community by 9 months is no longer in need of food. Because they get all their energy from photosynthesis. An entire state run on photosynthesis can produce an entire state's worth of food. That's a lot of food. All that food goes straight into those that need the food who are in the sun gazing process to, if they were commonsensely into the sun gazing process, which allows them to no longer need foods and therefore be self-masters in 9 months. Water is also a process in that which I've talked about before. I'm going to reiterate it again. In this one broadcast, protium is 1 proton, 1 electron, 1 proton, 1 electron, 1 hydrogen electron, or excuse me, 1 hydrogen atom, 1 electron. In a sense, that's self-explanatory, but I will explain the effects more in detail right now as I read from a very well, protium, it's actually not that hard to create, and I will actually just go into break down how to create protium, because this is a very very healthy substance to consume, which I advocate wholeheartedly to the human race. Protium, water preparation. You can do it via, it's very simple actually. Step 1, get water. Collect tap water, at least run it through a filter. Step 2, collect that filter into a jar. You can use anything from 2-liter Coke plastic bottle to an enamel jar. The enamel jar is preferred. You can filter water, you put it into a freezer, then check after 2 to 4 hours. In time you will notice, oh my goodness, a crust of ice. In this ice is heavy water molecules are concentrated. That's why transfer unfrozen water to another jar and we put it back into the freezer. So we've already got rid of the heavy water, good stuff. And then the first jar, we let the ice melt or use the hot water to melt and rinse the jar. And then get rid of the unfrozen water. Oh, this is step 5. Wait until 2/3 of the water will freeze, get rid of unfrozen water, excess minerals, salts, and chemicals impurities, the ice that you have. In the jar is the protein water in the frozen form. And then you let that melt, and then I hope this water tutorial will help you have a water fasting blast. Remember that you can use protein water even when not fasting. It's great for your health. Wonderful. Alright, so that's fasting. Next thing is the importance of what actual light water does. Because light protein combined with nano, and when I mean nano, I mean like 5 nanometers to 1 nanometer to 5 nanometers to 10 nanometers. No more than 11 nanometers of gold, and then 9 nanometers of silver. I say this, but of course I strongly recommend that you research this yourself first. But it's been known, and it's important, which is why I reiterate this at this now moment, because I have researched this just to know barely enough that I want to advocate this speech out to the known public. Because honestly, a lot of gold in your system is not good. Same thing with a lot of silver, which is why I never ever said it before. Well, I probably said it before, but it's important to know that when you combine protein with nano gold in your body, it accelerates. Your body is an electromagnet. I don't want to break down the entire blood system and the nervous system and how the nerves interact with the very sodium and potassium elements, and how that interacts with the cells, ultimately interacting with the muscle cells in your body, which are made of many different atoms, which combine in many different ways to accelerate the electrical process in your body. But it's very simple when you get rid of the neutrons, which are in deuterium, and then you, in a sense, add protein to it. No, well, I say add protein, but it's not like it's unnecessary, and it's not like it's necessary. There are planets that are balancing, in a sense, which is very interesting, because the very planets balance, which is what's going on right now. Which is kind of a mind-blowing thing, but it's going on right now. We got planets that balance the very interaction of which is, I'm going to the very micro management now, which I don't like to do. I don't like to micromanage, but I'm micromanaging. You got planets that are regulating the micromanagement of the very electrons because of their very existence, which is very interesting. But I want to do this as positively as possible, and I want to do as balanced as possible. So it's an understatement when I say bear with me, because in a sense, in the same way how the human body is, when you walk on the earth barefoot, I mean not like asphalt or concrete. When you walk on bare earth, your electrons are planet Earth is giving you electrons, and you are a positive being that's transferring your energy to the earth. That process of your body and earth, and then the electrons that earth is full of getting transferred back into you, that's an actual, we can call it a science, we can call it physics. We have a name for that for some reason, and we call it science. Same thing for planets. So planets, for example, and I don't like to put this planet on the spot, but I'm going to put it on the spot. Theoban. Theoban is a planet that's one of the 3 golden planets. The planet is actually itself has H2O plasma in its atmosphere with gold particles in it, which is what our planet is transferring into, because that is what all ecosystems transfer into, which is an acceleration of light throughout all of your electrons. Oh, the existence of this wonderful fruition goes down to the very nanometers of what gold does to the very blood system that is involved with, which also goes down to the very interaction of what manna is, which is what Moses created with the bread that he put, that was combined wool he was told to by. Moses told, what is his name? Belatrius? It's Belatrius or something like that. Moses told this guy, he has a name, to file down this gold idol, and it was filed down completely to dust, and all the gold particles were mixed in with bread, and that bread was fed to the people. And then Moses said, you have no reason for this gold. In a sense, why? And I'm trying to be patient here. And it's not about me. It's not about me at all. But why are we using money? Why are we, first of all, and of course we've already answered this question and solved this question, but I have to reiterate it again. Why? Because I don't know. I just feel like I need to. Why are we born on a planet where we have to be born onto a world where we have to pay money for stuff that we were born on the planet to be? And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. With the very understanding, and I should probably mention this, but with the very understanding of gold nanoparticles in bread, in edible bread, which is edible and broken down to be congested, of course, is a very positive fruition for humanity in terms of the human body, which allows us to live for a very long time, because we're not supposed to degrade. The degradation is the very... Never mind, I don't need to break this down, but I will. It's the degradation is... The only thing that degradation is the degradation of your telomeres. So I'm working on that. And I need to make sure that it's... Excuse me for being a perfectionist. Whatever, dude. I'm trying to... Well, let me talk straight. Perfection. I want 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 perfection. That's as clear as day. That's what I want. I want perfection. Perfection is provided when you are allowing the very human body, to be created into a divine crystalline structure, silicon crystalline structure, silicon carbon crystalline structure, like the human body was always meant to be. That human body can be facilitated of crystalline form, because it's not necessarily about... what that anti-gravity thing is, that going into the speed of light, is all about the electroluminescence of what is required in the body in the first place. We're supposed to be full-bodied crystalline beings, as in illuminating from our heart centers. As a crystal being. Crystal, made of crystal. Crystalline, crystal, silicon, carbon, crystal. Couldn't make that any more clear. So, sun gazing, protium, nano, gold, and silver. Nano, silver. Nano, gold, and nano, silver. Interesting. Also, Theoben the Theaupa is a very good example of a planet that the one planet is supposed to be. The very field around planet Earth is the very field, the field around the planet Earth. I'm really condensing this right now. So please bear with me when I say for example, the fifth dimensional reality around planet Earth. All right, we got there. Now let's just say, I'm skipping ahead, of course, again. 12th dimensional reality, around planet Earth, we're there. Bam. Next is the fruition of all that coming together. 12-strand DNA is exactly the very cohesion of why this okay, the Krebs cycle, the very process of mitosis and the very process of meiosis. It's a very complex process, but I'm trying to condense it all in one little thing. Really condense it into one explanation of mitosis, meiosis, and a condensation of the divinization, which is, in a sense, can be described with divination. Human beings don't have just 12 strands of DNA. What's actually there is an additional 10 strands of DNA that's actually interacting with your cells. Therefore, 12 strands of DNA are interacting with your cells. Therefore, you have an enlightened being in the physical state of what it's always meant to be. So no matter what is happening, you're always being co-created into that crystalline form. So here's the thing that's important. And here's what is so mind-blowing and honestly... Because here's the thing. When you're a crystal being, there's no need for money. You can manifest instantaneously. When you're a crystal being, there's no need for food. When you're a crystal being, there's no need for water. There's no need for... Well, do you need water as a crystal being? I don't think you need water as a crystal being. You don't need water as a crystal being. Yeah, you get... Oh, you're a light being. You're a light being. You're a light being. So you enter another plane of existence. In that other plane of existence, which is what all of the Fire of Liberty is about, is that plane is in immortal. It's immortal because it's in cohesion and it's also understanding of what's immortal and it's also immortal. The understanding of what is cohesion of that process is to allow the very fruition of the creation of what was supposed to be manifested, not necessarily in the first or the last place, not necessarily, and I mean that in the past and or the future, but I mean that in the present. I also mean that with the fact of how knowledge enlightens us. And I don't... What I mean to say is also this facilitation. It's kind of simple because we break it down to the what. It's clear with the... And I've probably already read it. I probably already reiterated it before. But it comes down to the sun gazing, the proteum, I would say. The sun gazing, the proteum, the nano silver, the nano gold, combined with proteum. The manna, which is food made out of, which is like yeast, basically yeast combining with nano silver, creating more yeast, it's actually, I'm not going to describe the process. It's yeast making nano silver, therefore making antivirus, antifungal, antibacterial production. Excuse me, not antifungal. Obviously, it's not antifungal because yeast is a fungus. But antivirus, antibacterial. Why the heck did I mention that before? Whatever, I already mentioned it. Manna, food, bread, gold. Pretty sure I mentioned that before. Whatever. Also, People have auras, so I'm pretty sure I don't need to redirect that. Also, really quickly, we also want to mention which is kind of awesome. It's like, actually, here's the fact of the matter is, okay, the literal evolution of humanity is the same evolution, and here's the wondrous, beautiful part. The same part of humanity, of evolution that we're going through this planet, there are other planets who have already gone through it. Alright? There's already other solar systems who have gone through it. They're already facilitating the very acceleration of humanity at the fullest possible fruition. So the acceleration of our evolution as we understand it is not just the understanding of the evolution of acceleration of humanity, it's the acceleration of the universe. Because I'll break it down. For example, you got the ninth planet. This ninth planet is a golden planet, but, in a sense, they are so spiritually evolved, in a sense, that they're able to teleport, in a sense, to be able to become one with nature. And I mean that literally, as in terms of dissolving their atoms and then realigning their atoms again. And then like levitating, even, in a sense, because that's how they're able to. That's how they're able to. That's how we're able to, in a sense, exist. I guess is the best way to put it. What's the English word for that? What is the English word for? I don't know the. What could be the English? I would call it transmutation. I don't think that's a strong enough word, but I would say that word is transmutation. The transmutation of that process is able to allow you to, in a sense, teleport or to hyperspeed, in a sense, and it's just like in a room, just hyperspeed in a room. So, also, the transportation, light years in a short amount of time. Light years in a very, very short amount of time. Also, well, of what we understand as time, which is, holy cow, which is probably to accelerate it more. I am the only understanding of time, which means that I am a constant, which therefore means that that's cool. Alright, well, because of that, I'm going to end that transmission right there. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Christopher Michael Curtis Bowen, on another wonderful edition of whatever this is called. Alright, Fire of Liberty. I love you all.